Welcome back to Morning Trade Live. We've got stocks rallying. The market is in good shape. We'll leave that aside for a moment and take a deep dive into Hyperion X, a titanium-focused business. It's up 20% since its debut on the NASDAQ more than a year ago, and up more than that this year, closer to about 45%. We've got the CEO and co-founder, Taso Arima joining us here. And this is a really interesting business. Tell us what you guys do. Introduce your company to us. You've done very well since you started listing here in the United States.
Yeah, absolutely, and thanks very much for having me on the show. So IperionX, I founded it about 3 years ago with the intent purpose of reshoring the titanium supply chain in the United States. The United States was the first company to really commercialize titanium metal. Titanium metal is strong, corrosion resistance, very lightweight. And it's used extensively in defense and aerospace applications because of those properties. But the United States in 2020 shut its last major titanium metal manufacturing facility called the Titanium Metal Sponge Plant and became 100% import dependent on titanium metal imports from then on. China, Russia control most of the supply chain today, over 70% of it, and it's growing. And so the view by myself and my team was we need to reshore that titanium metal supply chain in America, but we need to do it better. We need to make it more sustainable. Titanium metal is high carbon intensity today, and it's non-circular, but we also need to bring down the cost of titanium metal. We need to bring about what I like to say a Bessemer moment in the titanium industry. Just like the Bessemer converter allowed for steel in the 1880s to go from being a unique metal, high cost, to being low cost, and now we use steel in everything. We want to bring down the cost of titanium metal as well. So what are the industries that
want access, want to be able to use this material, but are limited by some of those measures you just discussed?
So we recently announced a partnership with Ford Motor Company and Automotive. The actual technology that we've secured to do this was funded by the Department of Energy to lower the cost of titanium metal, so it's used more extensively in the automotive industry. So definitely automotive, where especially today in electric vehicles where range is a big issue, you want to bring down the weight of those battery packs. If we can bring the cost of titanium metal down, and instead of using stainless steel, use titanium in the battery packs, titanium in the suspension systems, we can bring down the weight of those electric vehicles. Titanium is almost half the weight of steel. But then you've got everything else from bicycles, we've got a partnership there, through to consumer electronics, where as our phones and our smartwatches get lighter, get thinner, you want a metal which is stronger. You want a metal which is light, which lasts forever, which can be infinitely recyclable. So if you bring down the cost, you're going to have anywhere where you see stainless steel used today, or even aluminum, you can see titanium being used. And especially if it's a metal that's touching the consumer, then us developing a source of titanium metal which is sustainable as well and low cost, I think we can have huge success in entering a lot of those sort of markets.
The market's very excited about really any company connected to autos in particular right now. Can you give us an idea what you see a year from now as being that industry's contribution to either your top or your bottom line?
So it's we've just announced the work with Ford Motor Company. That's been in the works for over a year, almost 2 years. We were working with the team out of Ford Performance Vehicles.
That was in May. Your shares went nuts basically for a week. So the market absolutely loved this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it just it goes to show people are very interested in what could be in the titanium industry, what we can bring to the world, low cost, sustainable titanium metal. So automotive can be a big part of our business in the future. Over the next year, we continue to work with Ford and others in the automotive sector to develop prototype parts and parts that will eventually be in automotive applications. We're very excited about some of the projects, and obviously I can't talk about it, but some of the projects that we're working on with Ford Performance Vehicles.
How much can you tell us? Is there, what about just kind of the relationship in terms of, maybe not the products or the details if you can't go there, but financially, time-wise for investors? Is this multi-year deal? Is this something where, okay, we're going to try these parts, see how they work, and then we'll come back to you, or is this a commitment?
It would be introducing multi-year parts that will be used in various vehicles and applications over multi-years.
Mostly electric vehicles?
No, both. We'll be in both. Initially in the performance sector, but eventually we see that bridging into a lot more electric vehicles over time as we continue to bring the cost down of electric vehicles. But we are also very excited about other sectors. We are very excited about the bicycle sector. We have a relationship with Canyon Bikes in Germany, who is the largest direct-to-consumer bike manufacturer. LeBron James invested in them last year. Very cool company as well, some really cool parts there. But I'm especially interested in consumer electronics, where there's some iconic products out there where, you know, stainless steel, aluminum is used a lot, but you have a want by OEMs and a want by the consumer to have products which are much more sustainable. And so us bringing down the cost of titanium metal and allowing for the sustainability targets of these companies that produce these products to be hit, we believe that we have a unique opportunity to introduce titanium metal across a lot of the different industries, especially those industries like auto, bicycles, consumer electronics, sporting goods, things like that.
How do you position yourself to do that? Is it a marketing campaign? Is it an advertising business? Is it about getting boots on the ground for a sales team? Is it trying to figure out how cost intensive it will be from an investor standpoint? A lot of CapEx in the plans?
So it's a good question. For me, I don't see a significant amount of capex relative to some other businesses. Like in the prior to me founding Hyperion X, I had founded Piedmont Lithium, which is you've heard of course. On the show. Fantastic business.
Wow.
The lithium industry is probably more capital intensive, big markets already to go into. What I see here is we produce titanium metal today in Salt Lake City from scrap material. We can eventually produce it from the mineral. We do control one of the largest, or the largest titanium mineral resource in North America, in Tennessee. But we start off with scrap because today there's a lot of downcycling of titanium scrap into the steel industry. And that is a very capital efficient way to start our business. We produce titanium metal today in Salt Lake City at an industrial pilot facility. We're scaling into a commercial facility in Virginia to produce titanium metal at larger scale. Our engagement with end users is really, we've got over 100 NDAs out there. We're working on over 70 different companies. We've announced a few, but really we focus on those products where it's not just about cost. Cost is an important part of it. Let's bring down the cost, it can be used more, but also on those companies and those products where we want to make them more sustainable. We want to have them from sustainable circular materials, but also we want to have them from low carbon materials. And it's quite easy. If I come in and say you're making something out of stainless steel, but I can make it cost equivalent out of titanium, and it's got the superior properties of titanium, lightweight, high strength, corrosion resistance, but I can also hit all your carbon intensity and your recycling targets. It's pretty easy to get the attention of the designers, the management, to introduce a product like that.
Wow.
So we're able to make big headways. We're working with some really on some very exciting applications with some really exciting companies. And over the next 6, 12, 18 months, as we build and continue to scale our business and scale up our production, you're going to see our titanium metal being used in more applications. It's going to come out in bikes. It's already come out in luxury goods. Panerai, which is a division of Richemont, multi-billion-dollar luxury goods manufacturer in Europe, has just released the first titanium, fully recycled titanium metal watch from our titanium, a Panerai Brabus watch. So we see a lot more. We're only 3 years old. We've just started coming into the market with products. Over the next 6, 12, 18 months, we think that the uptake of our product is going to be immense.
One last point on the revenue breakdown, US versus international. What does that look like right now in terms of where your customers are?
It's a good question. Right now, our customers, we've broken into small revenues in the luxury goods sector, so overseas into the European sector. But as we go forward, we see the majority of our revenues over the next, say, 1 to 3 years are going to be driven by the US market, but there will be significant revenues also by the European market.
Do you have to keep your eye on the dollar? Is that an important part of your math?
Right now it's growth. There's a lot of growth there. I'm not too concerned. we're always watching the dollar, of course. We are low cost and we're bringing that cost of titanium metal down. So whatever we do, we will have margin. And we are projecting out 2026 to have $100 million of EBITDA once we're fully scaled in our commercial facility in Virginia, which we're building right now. But really focused on, let's introduce new products to those areas where sustainability and the properties of titanium metal are important.
Fantastic. Love the details. A very interesting business. Not only as a material science student, but as a Virginia hometowner as well. So we've got a lot of overlap there. Anastasios, really a fascinating outlook too for us to keep track of here as a publicly traded stock now. Definitely on our radar. Taso Arima, thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely great details here on Hyperion X, stock that's been rallying since its debut more than a year ago and up big this year on its partnership with Ford, changing the titanium industry for the cheaper and the better, sounds like. All right, we'll definitely be watching IPX going forward.